Call this meeting of the Carthage City Council to order. Chief Martin, would you please give us an invocation?
Yes, Your Honor. Heavenly Father, as we gather here tonight, we thank you for our health and our ability to be here. We ask your blessing and comfort to those who may be suffering or in need. Father, examine our hearts and fill us with your wisdom so that the efforts that we put forth will bring glory to you and you alone. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Miranda, if you would please call the roll.
Topete.
Present.
Harrison.
Present.
West.
Here.
Tejas.
Present.
Thorne.
Here.
Perkins.
Here.
Snow.
Here.
Kane.
Here.
Wells.
Here.
Ready.
Here.
All right, welcome everybody. I noticed that the only one that showed any sign of getting rained on coming in tonight was Josiah. So I'm not sure that means he was out there doing great stuff for us, right, Josiah?
Absolutely.
Okay, I know you've all had an opportunity to take a look at the minutes from the June 9 meeting. I'd entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
I'll make a motion we approve June 9 minutes as written.
Second.
I have a motion, a second, to approve the June 9th minutes. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Minutes are approved. All right, we have no presentations or proclamations tonight, so we'll move on to public comments. Anyone wishing to address the council, please step to the podium, state your name and address, and limit yourself to 5 minutes.
Hi, my name is Mitzi Welch. I'm sure you guys are all getting used to me by now. I have a few questions. A white Honda, Pity Ice, has been on 33rd Street, and it's here. There's one. The second being, sorry, it takes me a minute. It's been a long few weeks. Gang stalking. The biggest and most important one here recently, I was a mailman. I'd like to show you a video. Is there a way to show you a video?
You have a video you
Yeah.
want to show? Is that,
Yeah.
is my, how long is
I think
it?
you need to, it's like less than 3 minutes. It's
I don't know
like
that
2
we've
minutes.
got
It's a
any
2
way
minute
to.
video.
I don't have a way to project it.
Okay. We
If
don't
there's no
have that. You
sound-
can send the video file and we'll be certainly happy to share it if.
Okay, it's
required.
11 seconds.
Again, we don't have the capability to display right now.
All right, how would I share that?
We don't have any way.
I have no
You'd have to
way.
hook up to.
I can't.
We don't
send
have any
a
way to share it, but you can send it, you can send it as an attachment in an email.
file. Okay. What would the email be? I can do that now.
We'll get you the email address. I don't know which one we might want to use. We'll take a look, get with Michael Keith after the meeting is over and he can tell you.
Okay. But I mean, it's just, there's been several things. I mean, I could go on with a long list. I mean, I really don't want to. I want to put this in the past. I want to have peace. I don't want anyone to get hurt. And I don't know how to resolve it. I'm thanking you for talking to me today. This is the most we've communicated, and I appreciate that. I mean, but I assure you, the whole situation of mine, I mean, my identity is gone. I'm erased. I merged with a 90-year-old woman who's dead. My social security, my x-rays, they all went up in case 190199522. And my identity is gone. My 30-year career is gone. My kid worked for, I loved working for Israel. I worked with them for 30 years in our local community internationally. I did Hank Rotten Show. It's all gone. My kid, he also worked for an Israeli couple in Florida. He moved to Florida. They fired him 2 days later, and they packed up their shop and disappeared. These are things you don't even understand until you see them happening, that are really happening. And I don't like it, and I'm sure you guys don't either. So, I mean, I'm asking you one last time. I know I've asked several times. Call an emergency 3.1 charter rule, emergency meeting, and deal with this like all of us are grown adults and hear what happened. I mean, my gold, I never got my gold back. I got a white dust. I'm guessing, I don't even know what that is. I know it's not gold, because you can't burn gold out. You can't chemically gold out. Gold is the most densest metal. Where's my gold? I got called up here to get my property. I got an empty bottle. We need to deal with this. We need to talk this through. We need to work this out. It's been almost 6 months of silence until today and the other day when that gentleman there shook my hand. Otherwise, I've had nothing. No calls, I'm blacklisted, I can't send emails. I don't even know if I can send you the file. But I know I got a thing here, right here on my video, where I took some damage on my property that day when the mailman was there. And I have it on evidence. And this is getting too big, this is getting too bad. 1,096 files I found on 3/3/26 opened. All ghost cases, shadow dockets. We need to talk about it. This isn't gonna go away. No, I don't want this to be a war. I never wanted this war. I wasn't invited to it. I got dragged into it. I was a normal civilian, just like you. And I've been targeted for it since. And I know that there's been a history of that too, with what I see now. But, so I'm gonna ask one last time, if you call an emergency 3.1 meeting, uphold your charter, your oath and your duty, and do the right thing, and have an emergency.
Ms. Welch, I appreciate your comments. I know we've had discussions, you've discussed with our attorney, and the
No,
position
your
we
attorney
have is.
doesn't call me. I
well-
get out of office and no calls.
Again, our attorney has been notified. What we're
I'm not even
interested in
getting
is
court
doing,
records.
I understand your time, appreciate your time this evening, but the council is here to serve the citizens of Carthage. I know you're not a citizens of Carthage, but we are very interested in what we've got going on. I encourage you to continue to reach out to our attorney, and they will have any follow-on conversations. We've been instructed that
I can't even
there's
get
nothing we're
court
gonna do at this
papers.
point going forward, so.
I can't even get court papers. I can't be identified if there's a tornado. These are all important things that you're causing me every day to go through.
Thank you.
Every inaction.
Anyone else wishing to address the council? Please step to the podium, state your name and address, and limit yourself to 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mayor. I spoke to you before. I'm Toby Holstein, the now operations manager for Fairbridge Hotels. We currently have the hotel, which used to be Precious Moments on the Hazel Avenue. It's spelled Hulstine. So if you, giving you a little update, we are putting about $7 million now into the hotel. We have everything at our hotels at the airport in Oklahoma City waiting to come here. We had some storm damage. We're waiting on the adjusters to get done with their thing this Friday so they can get out of our way. So new tap locks, new cameras, new beds, new flat screens, new LVT flooring, everything starts rolling out. We were trying to get it done before Marion Days, but it doesn't look like that's going to be successful, but September is kind of our drop dead date. So we have a 121 room hotel. We're the biggest kid on the block, and 70 hotels nationwide, and then we're tied in with Marriott and Staybridge and other hotels that we manage the hospitality on. My point being is we would entertain you coming to the hotel to see what we've done, the guests that we're doing. We pay a considerable amount in taxes, I can tell you that. And you've got revenue team at your disposal, that handles hotels nationwide. We would love to assist you in your tourism to Carthage. And one of the people that I would like to thank is Melissa Little, because she was one of the first people to come out there. And we all know what the history was of the hotel. We all know what was out there. And she came out, and Beth came out, and some of the other council people. And I would encourage you to come out and see what we're doing out there and the guests that we have out there that are coming, because these are folks that are loving Carthage and coming back and returning and causing our ADR, average daily rate, to climb, which translates to tax money being paid into the city of Carthage. So I would just encourage you to come out and see what we're doing.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Any questions for him? Jack?
What was the name of the hotel?
It's going to be the Precious Hotel by Fairbridge.
Fairbridge, okay.
Yes, Fairbridge. We have 70 hotels nationwide, and several others that we handle the hospitality on.
Got it.
Any other questions for him? Rob?
Yes, sir. If we did want to come out, do you want us to just show up? Is that okay? Or do you want us to call
I'm
in?
there all the time.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you for your time.
All right, thank you, Mayor.
Anyone else wishing to address the council? Step to the podium, please state your name and address, and limit yourself to 5 minutes.
Good evening. My name is Judy Thomas. I am the producer of the Carthage Stampede Rodeos, the Maple Leaf Rodeo, and next week, the July 4th Bull Ride. I'm here today because I have worked putting on these rodeos for 16 years, but in the last 5 years, I have worked very diligently and tried to partner with different businesses in Carthage to try to build the arena, to try to bring more spectators into Carthage as well as revenue. We have 250 to 300 contestants each time we put on a rodeo. We are sanctioned with 3 rodeo associations. And I am not very good at marketing, but I can put on a rodeo. And I would not be able to do the marketing that has been done in the last year and a half for us. Melissa Little has gone above and beyond to open doors for us. We have received a grant from the Steadley Trust. We replaced the buck and chutes, the roping chutes. We've added sand to the arena, and just recently we built another cook shack on the north side to deal with the overflow. It is standing room only now at our rodeos. Melissa came into my life 14 months ago. She does an outstanding job. She opened doors for us that had never been opened before in Carthage. I have met new people. I have applied for grants. We just recently were honored to receive the Carthage Community Foundation grant for $10,000. Our next project is to replace the crow's nest, which is the announcer stand. Our next venture after that is to replace all of the holding pens. Some of you have been to our rodeos, and I love that, but some of you have told me that you didn't even know we had a rodeo. We want to grow this. We want to bring more spectators, more revenue into Carthage, and I couldn't do that without Melissa and the marketing that she does for us. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate all the help that you've given me, all the doors that have been opened, and I look forward to partnering with all of you in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Judy? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to address the council? All right, seeing none, we'll move on. We'll start with the reports of standing committees. We'll start with Budget, Ways, and Means. Alan.
Yes, Budget, Ways, and Means Committee is currently between meetings. On tonight's agenda, we do have the annual budget for the city and for Carthage Water and Electric. We do also have the rate increase for Carthage Water and Electric that will be later in tonight under old business. Our next regularly scheduled meeting will be July 13th at 5:30 here in council chambers. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Committee on Insurance, Audit, and Claims. Ron.
Yes, Your Honor, thank you. We met here in the chambers this evening at 6 o'clock. We reviewed the claims, approved them that we presented later on in the agenda. We also had discussion under new business, consider and discuss the Assistant Park Recreational Director job description, and we forwarded that to council. This is an individual to give some assistance to Richard out there. It's not going to be it's going to be a new employee under new direction, but another person job description was taken away, so it's not going to be a salary increase to your budget there. It'll affect it by $9,200 over the whole year. So anyway, and we tabled the consideration to discuss the Parks Administration Assistant job description based on Tracy's wanting some more time to look into it before we put it before the full council. Our next meeting will be on the 14th of July. Robin will be.
Need you to make a motion to approve that job description.
Oh, you need a motion for that?
Yes.
I thought it was gonna be on, okay. I need a motion to approve the consideration to discuss assist Parks Recreational Director for job description.
Second. Well, I don't know, he said I'd take a motion. You want me to make the motion?
Yes.
Or second? I'll make the motion, sorry.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the Assistant Parks and Rec Director. Any discussion? Beth?
So the job description or the position that went away was what? Or did I
The events
misunderstand?
coordinator position
Okay,
is, that position will no longer exist. It will be incorporated in the new job description.
okay, thank you.
Alan?
So I wasn't involved in the meeting tonight discussing the job description, but I can tell you from previous experience, Richard has no number two. There isn't a second, there isn't an assistant. And when the Parks Director has been gone in the past, Tracy has had to fill in as Parks Director with the absence of the Parks Director. So I think this is a very good step forward to get an assistant to help Richard out, not only in some of his daily duties, to unload him a little bit, because I know he's got a full plate, but I think it will be good to combine this with that events coordinator position, that we may be able to get someone who will move forward with our intent of that events coordinator position also. So I'm looking forward for this new position.
Okay. Ron?
I gotta say this, Alan, Richard told us that he's doing just fine so far tonight in our meeting. But he does need some assistance and out there, because I mean, the job description and everything that even the administrator here is gonna have is a lot going on. He's got the parks, he's got the golf course, he's working on our 4th of July. I have no doubt that he needs some assistance and help there.
Okay, any other discussion? All right, I have a motion and a second on the table. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Anything else, Ron?
Nope.
All right, we'll next move to public safety. David?
All right, Public Safety met here in council on the 15th. Under citizen participation, we had a discussion regarding child at play signage in an alley. Chief Deininger suggested maybe getting an extra patrol in the area just to kind of see what's going on. Tracy did a little research, found out that they really don't use children at play signs anymore, something that's kind of been eliminated. So there was nothing to really take action on at this time. We had a presentation discussion on road closures for the Jasper County Fair. This is kind of detailed here, so listen up. Close the road newly known as Fairway Drive at the gate beginning on Tuesday the 14th through Saturday the 18th to keep livestock contained. Close the road newly known as Clover Lane from Wednesday to Saturday. Allow food trucks in this area from Monday the 13th through Saturday the 18th, and request campers be allowed in the park on Saturday the 11th through Saturday the 18th that are exhibitors and families. So I would make a motion at this time to allow those street closures for the county fair.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second to allow the street closures and the overnight parking in the park in support of the Jasper County Youth Fair. Any discussion? Alan?
I just want to say how nice it is to be able to close actual roads by name instead of the road between this barn and this barn. And so I think that's very nice, David. Thank you.
All right, any other discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
Our next item was presentation and discussion on the 6th Annual Hispanic Heritage Celebration. It will be held September the 26th in Central Park. They do draw a large number of people in for that event. There will be food trucks, live music, and a car show going on. We are going to have a motion here. I'm making a motion to close these streets, 6th Street from Garrison to Lyon, Lyon Street, oh, wait a minute, 7th Street, sorry. 7th Street from Garrison to Lyon, Lyon, 7th Street to Chestnut, and Chestnut westbound only from Lyon to Garrison. That would be from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. on September the 26th.
Second.
Okay.
All right, I have a motion and a second to close the roads essentially right around Central Park, with the exception of Garrison Avenue, to support the Hispanic celebration. Any discussion?
I'll just comment,
Jack.
the lady that gave the presentation, they expect 3,000 to 8,000 people. And they're also gonna have native dancing, which is ballet folklorico. If you've never seen it, I encourage you to come watch. It's very, very beautiful.
Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
Under a new business item, Chief Martin made a presentation regarding recreational burning in the city, and that is on the agenda this evening, Council Bill 26-43. The next item, Chief Martin also presented regarding new beds and mattresses for the firemen. The funds have already been allocated in what was being used for roof and repairs for water damage. The amount of that would be for $8,459.82, plus the shipping. Did we get a shipping? Okay. Okay. And what they had currently, just a little background, was the beds are not very good. They haven't held up well, I'll say, to adult people, because they're twin-sized beds, and so adults sleeping on them night after night. The mattresses have already been replaced under warranty once, and they're breaking down, and the bed frames themselves aren't holding up well. So once we get, we need a shipping amount, right, to have an exact amount?
It's already been budgeted, it's in the
Okay.
budget, so you
So-
can just make a motion to
okay.
approve the purchase.
Okay, so this time I'd make a motion to go ahead and approve the purchase, and I believe that was for 9 beds and 9 mattresses for the fire station.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the purchase of beds for the fire stations. Any discussion? Ray?
I don't think that you mentioned that the beds that they're buying are manufactured specifically for firehouses and are much higher quality than the ones that are breaking down. It's gonna be much improved.
Yes, it will.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion passes.
And I believe that was all for that meeting. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Public Services, Beth.
Yes, I have, so bear with me, I have several items to bring forward this evening, and Tracy's offered to help me out if I need it. The first one relates to a presentation about huddled cameras. I think I'm saying that correctly. We had a presentation from the coaches, Dustin Perkins and Stephanie Ray with the school district, seeking permission to install the huddled cameras at the Fair Acres Sports Complex. The cameras are utilized for coaching and softball players to assess their performance and to assess their performance and how well they do in terms of their stats relating to other players in the area of schools that have huddled cameras, actually. And Carthage is one of the ones that has not had this available to us. The installation would be coordinated with the Parks and Rec and is at no cost to the city. The cameras would be, as I said, installed at the Fair Acres Complex. The committee discussed the privacy of the students. Each student has its own account. And we also discussed other security concerns, and the coaches were able to satisfy our questions. We would recommend a motion to approve the installation of the cameras.
Second.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to approve the installation of the huddle cameras at Fair Acres Sports Complex. Any discussion? Jack?
I'd like to flesh this out a little bit more. These are replacing the old 8mm, 16mm films that the coaches used to exchange. This is the modern version of exchanging game film which happens all the time. So that's the purpose of the huddle. I asked the guy, "You're gonna steal signs?" He goes, not like the Houston Astros, no. But anyhow, it just focuses. They can move it to the field, nothing in the stands. It's just essentially videoing the game. And it will be exchanged with, say Nick says it, for instance, is gonna play Carthage, they just exchange. So that's what these cameras are.
Any other discussion? Juan?
I'll add a little bit more to that, and they're only gonna be on during the program time, so they're not on 24/7, which I wasn't opposed to. I wouldn't mind having surveillance out there, but they won't work as surveillance cameras. They will only be programmed for the game, so it's another.
Okay. Robin?
I was just gonna say, I know from a coaching perspective that it's really neat. They can like focus in and break down a swing or a pitch or, you know, things like that that really help them from a coaching perspective to help adjust things that, you know, the kids need to work on.
Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
So the second item this evening is the use of Central Park for the Coachella event, which has already been talked about, for the use of the streets, which is sponsored by the Hispanic Connections annual Hispanic Heritage Celebration. The event will be from noon to 11 p.m. The organization would like to reserve the park from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. The event is expected to draw up to 8,000 people and includes, as Jack said, the live music, bands, cultural dancers, and a celebration of cultural art from various Latin American countries. Lots of food trucks, performances, fun, and even a car show will be through there, and the community is definitely invited. The plan is also, the plan that was already referenced and approved is to close the streets from 7th Street to Lyons Street from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. I'd like to motion to approve this event, and it's on September 26th.
This is basically to reserve the park as well?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
I'll second.
All right, I have a motion and a second to support the street closure and dedicate Central Park for the Hispanic celebration in September 26th, is that right?
Yes.
Any discussion?
I just want to share it's the same celebration that they've done for the last 6 years. I think it's 6 years, right? Yeah.
Yes, it is.
The last 4 they did it at the park. The 5th one they did it at the Civil War Arena. Now they're coming back to the park. So in essence, nothing has changed. It's the same request. So,
Different location.
yeah, different location.
Thank you. Any other discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
The third item is would like to have a motion to approve the annual Sudstock free water event on Saturday, June 27th at Municipal Park from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. So that's coming up this Saturday. The event is hosted by the Alliance of Southwest Missouri and the Carthage Community Connection. The Sudstock event serves approximately 1,500 people each year. I don't know, I didn't have anything in my reading about how many years they've been hosting it, but it's an established event. The purpose of the event is to provide youth with interactive alternatives to drugs and alcohol and to promote good, clean fun. During the event, the organization takes the opportunity to survey youth and their caregivers about their access to drugs and alcohol. The organization uses that information to plan prevention, community awareness, training, and to prevent further substance abuse among our youth. And again, I said on this Saturday from 12 to 3 at Municipal Park.
All right. You make a motion?
You can make it.
Oh, I move that we approve this event on Municipal Park on Saturday, June 27th.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second to approve Sudstock for this coming Saturday. Any discussion? Alan?
So this event is probably in about its 10th year, maybe. Prior to Sudstock, it was Mudstock. And as the city has sold and development has taken place in Myers Park, years ago, they used to dig trenches and the fire department was out there, created a big mud hole, and the kids would run through the mud, play in the mud. And I think Sudstock is much cleaner and much better for their stay clean from drugs message than Mudstock was. So I think it's a great event, and Chief, I'm sure the fire department's gonna be out there pumping water again, and
Not as big a footprint as we've done in the past.
not as big as in the past. Okay.
Where is it held? It's at Municipal Park, yeah.
Thank you. Any other discussion? All right, a motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
This is the fourth of 5 motions. We would like to have approval for the Agape Farms Community Family Reunion and Fundraiser for Therapy Dogs. And it will be held on July 11th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. in Central Park. The Agape Farms, I didn't know anything about them. I don't think anybody at the committee really did. They didn't have a representative here, but they did submit in writing their material. And they have about, they raise puppies that are trained as therapy dogs to visit local organizations. In the past year, I believe they've had conducted over 100 visits to places like St. Luke's and to various youth organizations as well. And I don't know if they go to the hospitals or not, but it seems like a very worthwhile endeavor. The dogs will be on leashes and the entire time, and the owners are expected to, and their trainers are expected to clean up after their pets. I think as we discussed, these are golden retrievers, and again, they're in training. The proceeds from the event, and I'm not exactly sure what kind of, they are going to have some contests for beauty contests for dogs. They're also going to take photos and do a number of other activities, and some of the residents at St. Luke's will be the judges of who wins the contest. And they'll have face painting and photos with the pets as well. Their proceeds will then go to some of the organizations that they're actually helping with their therapy visits. So, and again, that was July 11th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. in Central Park.
So make a motion to.
Okay, again, I'd like to make a motion to approve this event.
Second.
All right, I have a motion, a second for the July 11th Municipal Park, or is it Central Park?
Central Park.
Central Park, it's hosting of Agape Day, is it?
Agape.
Agape. All right, any discussion? Juan?
Yeah, Richard, did we ever hear back from them on what safety precautions they're going to take, leash length? And I know we have an ordinance for that, but
Yes,
how far they're going to be away from the kiddie pool?
I made contact with her the day after our meeting, and she assured me these are therapy dogs, and so they are well trained, and they will all be on leashes 6 feet or less, and they will steer clear of the wading pool. Because I said we don't want the dogs in there. And they said no problem, and she was very receptive to all my concerns, and she made me feel a lot more comfortable after speaking with her. So I said I'll be out there personally, and she welcomed me to it. She said, "Yeah, you'll be happy." So,
thank you.
Yeah, Robin.
Sorry, a question and a comment. Are they located in Carthage, Beth, or where?
I don't believe the material said.
Nobody knows.
I believe they are local, not far outside of town if they are.
yeah, they're in the country, but most of the visits they do are here locally.
Okay. And then my comment following that would just be, obviously not to anybody in this room, but should someone be watching online or listening, I know as a committee member, I greatly appreciate when an organization comes in person to present their event, just because then I can ask my questions at that time. And so, you know, out there in the world, if there's people that are listening to that, as a committee member, I greatly appreciate that.
Tracy?
I just want to say that the individuals did communicate with the park staff, and unfortunately, an emergency came up, and so that message wasn't necessarily relayed as it should have been, so it is not their fault.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Any other comment or discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
Okay. The last item that I have is that the Public Services Committee is bringing forward a request to approve a motion, which I'm making in this discussion, to issue a request for proposal to research and develop a comprehensive plan and strategy for tourism for the city of Carthage and our tourism efforts. The goal is to develop, I can't read my own writing. The goal is to develop and enhance Carthage's visibility, visitor engagement, economic impact through collaboration and premier event coordination. And I don't know, Mayor, if you would like to give some more context to this or not at this time.
I'd be happy to. We've been, I think many of you have heard me say, in my opinion, tourism is going to be absolutely incredibly important for the city moving forward in terms of generating revenue. And by that I mean revenue from people that do not live in Carthage or right next to Carthage. And the way we're going to do that is to bring in tourists and others that are traveling through Carthage. They're coming to Carthage to visit Carthage for a specific reason, et cetera, et cetera. And what we have not had, and we haven't had, quite honestly, in the last 10 or 15 years, is a comprehensive strategy that addresses how we're going to take what we have available in our portfolio of offerings and collectively put it into a synchronized effort to increase the amount of external to Carthage traffic through ideally spending dollars here, spending the nights here, eating lunches and dinners, and spending money in our shops here. So that's the intent of this RFP. It's much larger than we have done in the past. So we're going to see what's out there that can be done. So does that give you enough context?
Yes, I think so. So I made the motion to approve this request for RFP to be implemented.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to let Professor get the RFP out. Any discussion? Juan?
My thoughts on this, I think I was the only one that voted nay on this during our committee, but I think there's steps we can take internally without the extra cost to set up those goals, right? Those KPIs, the tracking that this is what we're doing and this is how we generate the success of advertisement or that we're doing our job. I think we can leverage some of our AI tools, see what other cities are doing around our area. Not reinvent the wheel, but mimic what's working without the additional cost. So I'm probably going to vote no against this just because I feel like there's steps we can do prior to spending some money. And again, I don't know what the cost will be when it gets looked at, but taking everything into consideration, we're in a deficit spending. We're trying to collect some of those monies back, but I think there's things we can do internally prior to taking that next step. So in my eyes, I think it makes sense to let's take those steps, and if we can't figure it out, then hire someone else that can tell us, hey, these are your KPIs, your goals that you need to be looking for. So, right, I don't think we're wrong either way. We'll get the same data, but it's just a different path to get to the same goal, I think.
Okay, any other discussion? Alan?
So the request for proposal won't cost anything? I mean, that's what it is a request to send out, to have companies send back to tell us what they will do. And obviously they'll attach a cost to that. But this is kind of, I mean, originally we started talking about this last November, maybe. I mean, we've been talking about it for quite some time to just find out, what kind of a strategy do we want to start with? And maybe some of these companies out there would be, would send us in a proposal, and then we look and see, well, what would that cost to have them help us develop that proposal or that strategy. And so it's not necessarily gonna cost anything, and maybe we won't get any response, I don't know, but I think there may be entities that will at least say, hey, we can do this or we can do that, and help us start developing a strategy.
Okay, yes, Robin.
Yes, so, I think along the same lines as Juan, my concern would be, or my questions would be, we internally have a tourism person or personnel, I guess you would say. And so what I would wonder is, what have we done prior to this internally with that position to capture some of this data? Have we made that an expectation of that position? And if so, you know, are we helping that person to know that that is their expectation? Or what steps have we taken internally prior to this to make that department fulfill that need? I think that if, you know, it's a failure on our part if we haven't made that part of that person's job description or their expectations prior to going outside to look for someone else to do it.
Okay, I'm happy to address that. Beth, would you like
Yes,
to?
sir.
All right, here's what we've got right now. Melissa is half a tourism director and half a public information officer, and the two are vastly different in terms of what their roles and strategy are. And quite honestly, any one of them individually would consume all of more than one individual. And what we've got is we've got both of them embedded in the single individual, which means neither one of them is being done completely as much as we need. So part of it gets into the conceptual component that Alan's talking about there in terms of saying we need to get out and figure out. Carthage has been, since we started with a CVB years ago, we've gone through a CVB for a number of years. We've gone through several tourism directors, and quite honestly, we're still swinging at the ball, and we haven't necessarily hit it yet. It was originally started to do, essentially put additional heads in hotel beds overnight in Carthage. That's what the Carthage Visitors Bureau stood up to do. They weren't doing any of the tourism-related type of activities. They really didn't build a strategy. What they did was some marketing, which we still do some marketing, and that's what Melissa, as you've heard tonight, will do some marketing. But the overall coordination of a tourism strategy is much more expansive than that, and includes a bunch of different stakeholder coordination, synchronization. It probably is going to cost some city some money to get a footprint down there. But if we don't go down this road, we're going to continue to do what we're doing right now, which is really, we haven't seen, if you use one metric, which is the hotel lodging tax, which is in theory is what was used originally for CBB, that lodging tax number has been flat for 10 years. There hasn't been a single bump up on that at all, which tells you that, you know, if you want to continue to get no change, then don't do anything, and it'll just kind of connect. We need to, in my opinion, we need to insert some steroids into that thing and figure out what it can do, and look at other ways to measure, are we having success with our tourism efforts? So for example, and I can vividly remember serving U.S. Army, and I can remember the conversation Chief of Staff of the Army saying, we were looking at things like, okay, how many hits are we getting on the website? How much time is people lingering on the website? All of those types of metrics that marketing people give you. And what was very clear to the rest of us is that doesn't make any difference. It makes no difference at all how many clicks you got on it, how many people are searching for the page, how much time they're spending there. The only thing that the Army cared about, how many people raised their hands and swore an oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States. Because otherwise, the rest of it's nothing but eye candy. So how do we get into figuring out, are we being successful? We don't have any metric on that right now at all. If we're trying to use lodging tax, then we haven't been successful in 10 years at all. There's just been no increase. Are we seeing some sales at the Civil War Museum? Yes, and same way with the Visitor Center, which is now open. But I'm not sure that those aren't related to, first of all, the anniversary of the Civil War, and or, quite honestly, the 100th anniversary of Route 66. So I'm of the opinion, as is Alan, what we need to do is go explore what's possible out there and what may we be able to do with what we've got available. And I'm not sure we're getting there right now. I don't think, Melissa's doing a great job from PIO. She's doing a lot of work from that perspective. But again, that's only half of her job. And the other half is tourism. We're just not getting there at this point. So that's what, from my perspective, we need to move forward and figure out how we're going to move this ball down the field for the benefit of Carthage. So, Jack.
I will bring up the word metrics, because we had that discussion in the committee meeting. And I was rude to you, I apologize. But she said she had been working on some metrics to identify whether what she is, her efforts, whether it's her or a marketing firm, results in additional revenue. And that's that's gonna be a really difficult thing to manage. If we hire a advertising agency from New York City or whatever, it's just gonna be really difficult to say, okay, this many more people came in and spent this much more money because of, and I think it's gonna be very difficult. So I agree with you. I think we need a plan, obviously, that you can follow and go from there. But I think, you know, if she has some metrics, then she needs to share those with us, and if or work on developing metrics if that's possible. And I'm not sure it is. So.
Okay. Any other discussion?
If I may, I have a couple of follow-up questions.
Yep.
So are you saying, Mr. Mayor, that what would happen would be Melissa's job would go to more, what was the other? PIO, and then the tourism would just go to that? And
No,
then that
no.
would become her full-time job?
The reality of it is we need both. We have to have a public information officer who's describing and communicating with the public everything from what happens in these sessions to other events that are occurring across the city. Those are all focused on Carthaginians and informing Carthaginians of what their council are doing for them or what their council is doing to them, quite honestly in some cases. But and getting the word out, and everything from storm and tornado warnings to other activities that are occurring in town. We need to get that out, and that's public information that helps us maintain compliance with sunshine law and all that sort of stuff. We have an absolute need for that across the city. For example, I'll give you an example. There's, in my opinion, and I've talked to Melissa about this too, there is no reason why every member of this council should not know on a daily basis what newspaper articles or what articles are being covered that are discussing Carthage politics and Carthage City Council actions. You should not be subjected to being surprised as you walk to get a cup of coffee or your neighbor says, what about this? I mean, that's the sort of thing, and that pushing that information out to arm you so that you're ready to engage with your constituents should be something that the public information officer should be doing as well. So I think we've got a full-time position requirement for public information officer. In addition to that, as I mentioned earlier, we do have a full-time requirement for some sort of tourism effort. I mean, and right now we're trying to do two of them. We're trying to do both of them with a single individual. And we're getting little pieces of both, but we're not getting either of them completely, in my opinion. So how would it shake out eventually? I don't know. Most of our tourism type of activities may very well fall under Parks and Recreation. Does it, you know, I mean, and Richard's got some of the things he's going to be hosting some of this stuff. It may be someplace else. It certainly fall under Public Services. And what that would look like going forward is a big question. The public information is a different animal. That one may very well fall under a different committee for oversight because it's putting out known information, essentially, if you will, to include Facebook. It's putting out information that is correct, and we've talked about this, and Melissa's been doing a good job of this. Don't put out information that is rumor, put out the facts. I mean, that's how we hope to combat some of the rumors that are out there that may not necessarily be true and certainly provide some angst amidst to the citizens of Carthage. And we need to work against that. So the answer to your question is I can see eventually two positions, one full-time PIO position, and the tourism, if we outsource it, we may outsource it. We may, as Alan pointed out, we may come back in and find out we can't get there from here. So, but then the question becomes, what are we doing? If we're not, arguably, right now, if the metric that we're using, and Jack's absolutely correct, we gotta figure out what the metric should be, but if the metric we're using is lodging tax, which is what's been supporting the position in the first place, we haven't made a move in over 10 years. I mean, we've made no forward progress, and it's just crazy to continue to do that if we're not moving forward on the journey. Jack.
We have a jewel here in Southwest Missouri, and that is our golf course. There was a women's tournament, 2-day tournament, earlier this year, where women came from a lot of areas. It wasn't just local, Neosho or whatever. So that means then they would stay in motels. And I think the fact that this Fairbridge is coming in is going to be a huge bonus. I've stayed in Fairbridge; it's a really nice chain. But I would suggest, from a golf course standpoint, to have some kind of 2-day tournaments, major tournaments. Let me digress. In South Texas, they have a PAGA, Pan American Golf Association, and they have tournaments all over South Texas. But they have a huge tournament in San Antonio. I mean, enormous. So we have a very large Hispanic population in Southwest Missouri. And I have to talk to the lady, but if they would form a chapter, a PAGA chapter, then that's another 2-day tournament that we could have. So this is all my thoughts, and I think with working with Corey to promote that somehow, right? I mean, get the word out, because right now, as a member of the Missouri Golf Association, every week I could go somewhere and play golf for 2 days. It moves all over the state. And then you'd have to stay. If I went to Warrensburg, you'd have to spend the night, because you're not going to drive back. Or you go to Cape Girardeau or whatever. So it's a similar thought process for our golf course, and generate tax revenue from food and from motel.
Okay, Alan.
So I think this request for proposal, Jack, is to not only look at our golf course, to look at our historic district, to look at the courthouse in the middle of our square, to look at the businesses that we have, to look at everything all encompassing and say, here's a strategy, or here's how you should market it, or where you should market it, and all those types of things. And again, we didn't send out a request for bids, we sent out a request for proposal. So they send us this proposal back, and that kind of starts the conversation and starts for lack of a better term, a negotiation, and say, okay, well, you can do these things for us. What can you do them for us for this amount of money? Sure. Or, so it's not a matter of them telling us we'll have more tournaments at the golf course. It's saying you could market your golf course better by having more tournaments. You could market your historic district. You could market Route 66 better in these areas, or through these channels. And so this RFP is more to start a conversation than it is to go into an agreement with somebody to do those things.
We had that exact discussion in the meeting, the services committee, and I agree with you 100%. We're not spending money, but we need help. I had another idea. Why don't we turn the skating rink into an event center, like a 2-day flea market? I mean, it's just sitting there, right? I mean, I don't know what that would do to the Memorial Hall funding, but I mean, as far as what they rent. But it'd be open here, people sell nuts and bolts and wrenches and stuff like that.
All right.
Yeah.
Bet.
Okay, 2 things. Because when you first brought this RFP up, and I had been out, and I said, I'm not sure what you want. And we had several discussions about this. And the more I've thought about it, in terms of where we are and where we want to be as a community, I think that we can all use some help in terms of, and support and expertise to be able to do that. We've been at this cusp before, let's just say from the 1950s to now, and we cycle and we get almost there. And this has been an ongoing thing that I have seen over decades, we've just sort of gotten to a point where we get over, or ready to go over a hump to an opportunity, and then it stalls. And so I don't have an answer, but I know that the two efforts that I represent the council on, one is I sit with the downtown merchants. They've just taken a real kick in the shins with our surprise of the lack of communication about our courthouse repairs, which need to be done, absolutely. But they have been working together in a way I have not seen for a very long time. They are taking steps right now, all on their own, but they could really use some support to be able to do that kind of we versus I'm doing this in my business, and how to really become, they need some help on a strategy too, and I think they would welcome that. The other thing is the vision for revitalization of Carthage's historic square and our businesses with Jeff Williams with Four States Bank is chairing that. So we've looked at tax credits, historic preservation tax credits, and bringing businesses in to that, as well as what we want to do with the economic development efforts that Jeff Meredith leads. We're at a point where I think we've got information that we need to collect in ways that maybe are not available to us right now to be able to do that kind of thing. And this would help us get there. Sometimes we have to look at what we don't know, and sometimes we don't know what we don't know, and I'll be the first to admit that. So I think that this is a chance for us to have a deeper discussion, to be able to move forward to get some of these things to become a reality.
Okay. Any other discussion? Juan?
Just one last thought. So I probably will end up voting for this just based off the discussion. It's got me thinking a little bit. My comments are really going to be more for Melissa. During this time, my recommendation for you would be create your metrics. What can you prove? I did this and it translated to this. Be able to tell your story, right? Because really we know, but we don't know. If your metric is hotel stays, but our hotels haven't been improved since 1960, and so people aren't going to stay here because those hotels people have been murdered at or whatever. Tell that story. Be able to tell your own story if that is what the metric is. But at the same time, we can't continue doing the same thing and expect different results, right? So create those metrics that say this is what I did and this is the dollar value that came with it, because that will help us be able to say, okay, yes, we need to invest in this company that's going to tell us the exact same thing you're telling us. Or if you're doing it already, then we don't have to spend the money elsewhere to have someone tell us the same thing that you're doing, or that the goals that you're reaching out are getting. Additionally, don't reinvent the wheel. Reach out to the cities that are doing a good job at bringing in folks, see what they're doing, and if you're not already, implement some of those and say, hey, this is what I've seen, and tell your story. That's really what it comes down to, is just tell your story so that we can make a better decision as a council to, yes, we need to spend more money, or no, our money's invested well within Carthage. We don't need to invest more. So,
Okay. Any other discussion? All right, there's a motion and a second on the floor to release the request for proposal. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. All right, Beth?
Okay, I think that our next meeting will be July 21st. We'll be dealing with looking at more information about our swimming pool, also the playground equipment. I think we're going to be getting some additional input on the play structures from some of the residents in the community, and also looking at where we are with things like our golf revenue, which is just really kind of, I had excuse me for a minute, the revenue from 2024 was, I think, I don't have that, but it's like, we've got a lot of good things that are happening with the golf course, and I think there's opportunities for more, so I'm gonna just rely on Tracy, because if I go thumbing through here, I won't find it, so.
I can give you those.
Okay.
For the month of May in 2024, the golf revenue was $58,000. In 2025, the revenue was $106,000. And this year, in the month of May, the revenue was $139,000.
So, and I think some of the changes that have been made, like with the liquor sales and some of the other things, have been met pretty positively with the golfers, and then also has brought in more revenue for what we're doing. And so I think it's a lot of good things are happening. So that would be my report, and thank you for your patience.
All right.
Good discussions.
Public Works, Juan.
Public Works is between meetings. Our next meeting is scheduled for next Tuesday at 5:30 here at Council Chambers.
Okay, we'll now entertain reports from special committees and board liaisons. Jack?
CWP Board met June 11th, and in the scheme of speed relative to Mr. Bryant, this was a really fast meeting. 40 minutes, I think, which set an all-time record as far as I know. Anyhow, there wasn't much discussed. There was a financial reports from Kevin and from Jason and the IT guy.
Jason.
Yeah, Jason. And then there was a discussion about travel policy, you know, food, lodge, et cetera, which was internal. And what was the other thing? It was pretty nondescript. Anyhow, but I want to read something to you. This is a text that Mr. Bryant sent at 8:30 Monday morning after the huge storm. Crews worked through the night. We sent home a couple to rest. Nixa, Harrisonville, and MPUA are sending a few crews our way so we can rotate some of our people out today. Northwest part of town has experienced trees down and broken poles, while southwest of town has seen the same. At peak, we had over 3,000 without power. We will have a couple of days of individual outages due to service lines being pulled down by property owners' trees. And if you didn't go down Country Club Road, it snapped 2 of the poles, just snapped them off in half. So it was really, he sent some pictures of that, really fascinating. And then he said he would send another update. Okay, and he says, we are down to around 60 services still out. Harrisonville crew is on Oak Hill Road working a broken pole. Nixa is headed to Country Club Road to work on the 2 broken poles there. MPUA is close and will start in on services as soon as they arrive. So that's our, that is our community. That's the cooperation that we have with communities. I think it's really, really good. And I owe that to the way the CWP corporation is run. I use that term. Lastly, this was soon after, so Country Club Road and Witten Road are now back on. This was the last of our primary lines down. We are down to 2 to 3 dozen individual properties throughout town waiting for electrical repairs before service can be reestablished. This generally takes a couple of days to get wrapped up. Long night and day for our folks and our friends who came to help. Thanks for all the support. I think that's just fantastic. So the next meeting, I don't know.
Soon.
Thursday is third Thursday in July.
Third Thursday in July. Be there.
The one thing that, Jack, you did mention, and most of you will certainly appreciate, is Kelly Nugent, who is our CFO, we've been long serving out there, is in the process of starting to transition out. So if you know her, I would commend you to go out there and say thanks for your service, and she's going to be handing it over to very capable hands. But I think we all appreciate, we just went through a complete turnover of all the directors basically in the last 15 months here at the city level, so we know how challenging that can be when you start losing key personnel. So, but I'm sure they'll work their way through it. So, and Kelly's done a great job for us, and as you know, she has successfully fought and won some medical challenges as well. So, all right, any other special, Ray?
I'll be brief. Kellogg Lake Board met also on June the 11th. It was their annual internal critique of their big event, and they feel like everything was a success, and they should. They had a couple of things that they want to try to work on. Their primary one is their volunteer system. They had enough volunteers, but they just didn't have them allocated correctly to the right places all the time. At one point, apparently, they had 5 bait stations. They had 1 bait station that was completely unmanned at one point for a little while, but they want to work on that. They also did not get their banners and signage up as soon as they normally do. They want to make sure that that gets out earlier than it did this year. It was less than a week, I think, by the time they got them all up. And lastly, they had 2 new applications for board members, and they voted on them, and both of those were approved. One was Bridget Fox, and the other was Tiffany Cossey. And Ms. Cossey was also appointed as the treasurer of the board. They still have 1 vacancy that they're looking to fill, and that's my report. Thank you.
Okay, great, thank you. Other special committees are, Beth?
Yes, trust me, I didn't sign up for all of these things on purpose this way, but I'm the representative from the council to Vision Carthage. They had their monthly meeting last Wednesday. They're knee-deep in planning 2 major things. Their evening soiree, which will take place also with the Gardens awards for each of the wards in the community, which will be here at Central Park from 6:30 to 9:30 this coming Saturday. And the rain date or location will be the pavilion, the Copeland Pavilion for the Farmers Market. And if it's really storming, we'll go into the Coyle Center next door on Grant Street. So we have 2 backup plans just in case. The other thing is that when the awards will be given at 8 p.m. and I think Sally Stewart was at our public services meeting and asked that if there was a representative from each ward from the council that could be there to give the awards to the recipients, that would be icing on the cake to do so. And they're also working on the restoration. They're taking applications for the restoration day that they have in September, that they team up with Habitat for Humanity for doing repairs. So those are 2 things that they're doing. The other organization that I represent, the council in the city, is the Harry S. Truman Coordinating Council. That meeting was postponed. It's going to be, my first meeting I'll be attending is on this coming Monday, and that's where we look at the transportation projects. We have one that's second right now, only to the Fidelity Interchange, which is number 1 with I-44 and I-49, and then our project, the Chapel Road and for Chapel. Is it Chapel Road? Okay, Chapel Road and Fur Road. We're looking at a roundabout that's hopefully will increase some of the safety and address some of the traffic concerns in that area by the school. So those are 2 things that are important to organizations that we are connected with. So that's it.
All right, if council members, if you're going to be able to attend to present the award to your ward, on behalf of your ward, just let Beth know and she can let Vision Carthage board.
What was that date again? I'm sorry.
It's this Saturday. Yeah. I think this is the 2nd year they've done this event, and I think they're continuing as they grow it. They're trying to figure out what's going to work the best. So,
What was the award for?
the gardens, the citizens and business that are people. They have a nominating committee that goes out and picks the winners for each ward.
I'll be there.
Yeah. Okay. I'll be there. So,
All right, any other,
thank you all.
all right, any other special committees or board liaisons? Susan?
The Boots Visitor Center Board met on the 11th of June. I wasn't able to attend, but according to the minutes, the block party was a huge success. Did anybody get to go to that?
That's great.
But they said that they got a lot of positive feedback on that. And their next meeting is going to be on the 20, 6th, which is this week.
Okay,
That's all I have.
thank you. Any other reports of board special committees? Okay, we will now move on to my report. All right, first of all, since the last time we've met, we did have another housing committee meeting. That was after the landmark or land bank legislation was signed, as some people are aware of that. And the housing committee is discussing how they might be able to leverage that legislation with some of the local banks to essentially create a fund which could be used by some of the local homeowners here to either purchase or improve or restore the homes that they're in. So it's still very much in conversation, as is the list of blighted properties that has been provided. And Josiah, I think they may have already talked to you a little bit in terms of making some of those publicly accessible so that the list can be made available. I did meet with some of the new, Lee Sawyer is taking over chairman of the library board. I met with him and the outgoing president of the library board to discuss some of those things. And as you know, they are a component of the city. And of course, they get a portion of our tax, stormwater, or parks stormwater tax that goes through. And we were discussing when is that next due. It's a couple years down the road, but again, my experience is we need to start those conversations earlier rather than later. Jack's already reported on the CWE board meeting, and again, I would just commend to you, if you get a chance to say something to Kelly, please do so. I was able to attend the legislative wrap-up, which is in Memorial Hall with Senator Carter and Representative Loy. There was a lot of conversation, and they discussed some of the things that their various committees had looked at. And the Q&A portion started going to a question along what is the income tax referendum that we're going to go vote for here shortly. What is that going to do? How is it going to be replaced? And of course, they don't know the answer to those questions right now. They're still being debated in Jeff City and will be for some time. And I think my read would be, several of you in there, my read would be probably a mixed opinion across the audience in terms of they were for income tax removal or against income tax removal. Next Tuesday, I do have another Missouri mayor's meeting that I will participate in. And as you heard me report last time, the income tax reduction was the huge source of, or huge topic that was discussed. Generally, the mayors were not in favor because of their reliance in most cases on sales tax. So I'm not sure what how the conversation will run on this next meeting, but I'll report that at our next council meeting. CEDC, we met with Jeff Meredith and some others to discuss some of the 353, which is a tax credit approach that can be used to help rejuvenate businesses, and particularly in our case, some of the businesses around the square. It would require some acquiescence on the part of the city in terms of what we would be allowed or we'd be willing to provide relief for, which is something, of course, we would come to the council to get approval of anyway if we're going to offer up some tax relief. But those conversations are being held. I was also able to go down to the fire station. For those of you who haven't been down there, if you go to the station number 1 on the south entrance, the main entrance to the business area there, you will see a very nicely constructed flag box. It kind of looks like a mailbox, if you will, but it is for citizens to deposit flags, American flags that have reached their end of useful life. And it was an Eagle Scout project, and in conjunction with the fire department, and very well done. And we had a very nice and it was the day after the storm, and we actually had a very nice turnout. Most of Troop 9, in fact, was there, as was Proud Mama and everybody else. So it was very nicely done. I was able to attend that. We did have another CEDC meeting recently, and we're tracking on what's going on out there, and I think that's moving forward. We were able to meet earlier or late last week with our 3 members of the Carthage Fire District. And for those of you council members who have been involved in this, you recall that the Carthage Fire District is we're the largest in Jasper County. It's basically parts of the county that our fire department responds to for emergency response, fire response, and those types of things outside the city of Carthage. And they have an elected board of 3 members that both, they collect taxes and provide taxes to help offset our costs and that sort of thing. And there've been some challenges in terms of being able to communicate them over the last couple of years, but I think we're working through those now. And we had a very useful session with them with regard to what we need to do going forward to improve communication and additionally try to start offsetting some of the costs that it takes for us to service those areas. So that's moving forward appropriately. I know most of you probably took Juneteenth off. I know most of the staff did. Some of us were out with chainsaws trying to clean up our yards, but it was a great holiday, and I know a lot of folks got out and did things. We met this morning, both Chad and Jason and I went out, met with our Marion Day executive team out at OLO, or it's not OLO, and it's CMR, I guess now it is. And so, yes, there's going to be another Marion Day this year, and it's all on track. And Jason and Chad have already started that coordination, and I think we're in good shape there going forward. And of course, as always, they're very cooperative and appreciative of what we do, and I think that'll go fine. Our ordinance enforcement efforts continue. I know that you've been seeing the updates from Josiah, and I've seen some of the notes you sent back. And I would encourage you to continue to send that word out for folks that we're getting there. It takes a while. It's a little bit of a long haul, but we'll get there eventually. And my hat's off to all the folks, fire, police, and public works that are dealing with that. So help there. Richard is moving forward. We're getting closer with the final crystallized, if you will, assessment on the pool, and that will help us determine what we can do going forward. We've had external contractors come in. We'll have some more come in. CWP has been providing expertise, and I think we're finally coming to the point where we're going to be able to identify what precisely needs to be done and how much it's going to cost and what that's going to do for us, or more importantly for the citizens, and we'll come to you through Public Services to discuss that when the time is right. And finally, our Bridge Committee is continuing to work. We're working a couple of different things in terms of funding issues. I was talking to Kathy Joloy and Jill Carter about it the other day. And we've been talking, Tracy's been talking to Will Klein, who is part of the Truman element. So it may perceive to be a little bit below the surface, but trust me, the duck's feet are spinning as fast as we can. So more to follow on that later on. And I have asked Juan, just so you know, as the chair of Public Works, to join that committee and provide them additional manpower. You know, may not be as good looking as they want, but at least there's additional manpower in there. All right, and that completes my report for this evening. So now we'll move on to reports of council members. And Juan, we'll start with you.
I don't know how to follow that. I have nothing, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay. Robin?
Nothing this evening, Your Honor.
Ray?
Since you brought up public information, I'm going to give a account of something that went on with me last week. I met with a group of, I believe it was 12 ladies, and they were from the water aerobics class at the YMCA, and they wanted to talk about the pool and the swimming and stuff, and their perception, and this is something that I think is more pervasive than what we think. These were not tinfoil hat ladies, but anyway, their perception is we're just sitting on a pile of money that we should have wrote a check back in February and had this pool done and over with and you know, operating by now. And I think with the budget that we're going to pass here shortly, we need to get ahead of the PR on this, because I think there's more people that will be very surprised when they find out when services might suffer that we're not sitting on a pile of money, because that's a lot of folks that believe that.
Right, okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ray. Ariella?
Nothing at this time, Your Honor.
Okay. David?
I wanted to mention, I was really happy after the storm that the city decided to pick up limbs around town. All people had to do is put stuff at the curb. And also that they opened the recycling center on that Monday when it would normally have been closed for people to drop off limbs. I know I personally took a truckload out and was glad to be able to do it on Monday and not have to hold on to it for another day. So I was just happy to see the city do that, put the announcements out so people would be aware of that. So that's it.
Okay, thank you. Jack?
Wordless.
Alan?
I just wanted to mention that received an email. I think everyone on council may have received the email about Melissa helping with the Civil War reenactment, and that was good to see the feedback from someone who was praising her help to put on that event. So I just wanted to mention thank you, Melissa, for helping them out with that. Also, Ray, about 6 or 7 years ago, I don't remember exactly how long ago now, during a campaign for city council, someone came out and stated that to, I believe, the newspaper or maybe the TV station, that Carthage was sitting on about $15 million and they needed to spend it all. And I've never found that money. I don't think Tracy's ever seen that money. I don't know where, but that perception's been around, but that misconception has been around for a long, long time. So anyway, I'm not surprised that they're, obviously we need to know what we have to do at the pool before we can spend money to do it. Right. Richard?
Correct.
And I think Richard's getting closer, as the mayor stated, to figuring out what we need to do. Then we'll have to figure out how we're gonna pay for it.
And the following that is exactly what I'm talking about, is getting that public information out. It's just, the way you fight rumor is with fact.
Yeah.
Just, unemotional fact.
And I would encourage everyone, if you don't have the Carthage app, she posts a lot of information on that Carthage app. It's My Carthage, and you can download it. She posts a lot of information on that. It's very informative. So that's all I have tonight, Your Honor.
Okay. Beth?
I don't have anything right now, thank you.
All right. Ron?
Yes, Your Honor. Number one, I don't know if I stated a while ago, but I will not be here at the next meeting on the 14th of July. So Robin will be representing me and seeing that the claims all get taken care of. Second, I will be here for Marion Days. I was going to be gone, but my wife said, you're going to be back. So I will be back by Marion Days for that. And that's all for now.
Okay, thank you. Susan?
I just wanted to go by what David was saying, how much I appreciate the city for getting the limbs picked up. I had quite a bit of damage at my house and a lot of trees down, and they were there. I talked to Josiah, he said probably maybe middle of the week, and they were there Monday or Tuesday, just like picking it all up, and I appreciate that. And also, Ray, when you get onto Facebook, I don't believe anything that I see on there, nothing, and that's where everybody believes all the information. So if it's on Facebook, I'm just gonna look for the facts somewhere else. I'm done.
Okay, thank you. We'll now move on to reports of the officers of the city. We'll start with Chief Martin.
Yes, thank you for mentioning the district board meeting last week, so I don't have to go over all that information. I would also like to extend a hearty thank you to Truman Fisher, who made that was his Eagle Scout project for the flag drop box, and he's already stopped by on his bicycle a couple times to check and see how many flags, and I think he counted 27 the first time, and then there were some more the next time. So he's pretty excited about the project, and so are we. Very appreciative for him doing that. We had a big storm a couple of weeks ago on Saturday night. We had one of our storm sirens failed to operate at South Main, there at the water tower. Monday morning, went out and checked that box, and there was a loose connection on the radio power cable, so it didn't receive the signal. It was why it didn't sound. We were able to test it immediately, and it operated. So I believe that problem is rectified. The area still was you know, if you look at our map, it's got circles around all the sirens, and there's a lot of overlap in town. So I believe everyone who needed to hear the sirens heard them in town. We had 400 plus showed up in the storm shelters that we didn't open till 11 o'clock. So that Saturday night, along with multiple pets, we had no complaints about the pets being loose this time. So that was good. We're currently coordinating with Joplin and Webb City emergency management agencies and the Jasper County Emergency Management Group to potentially qualify for disaster assistance through the state and FEMA. There'll be some FEMA representatives here next week to look at storm damage. We have to contribute a list of addresses where incidents occurred, power lines down, damaged buildings, municipal buildings, roads, bridges, anything that was damaged, and then they'll map it all out and go on a circuitous route to determine the level of damage and whether or not it meets the threshold to activate the recompense for expense. So we'll be doing that next Wednesday. It'll be a busy day. And by the way, we could have some storm activity around 8:30 tonight. Hopefully it dissipates as the futurecast showed, but it's been an odd June with a lot of bad weather that we normally don't have in June. So we'll keep our eyes on the skies and try to keep everybody safe and let them know. And we're going to open storm shelters. If you're unaware, it posts on the school website and we're going to put it on the fire department Facebook page as soon as they're open, or with a time that they will be open. And you know, if someone gets there before it's open, you can call the fire station, and we have the ability to unlock the shelter door from our phone. The school is gracious enough to extend that courtesy to us. That's all I have tonight. Yeah.
All right, Chad.
Nothing tonight.
Josiah.
Yeah, I just wanted to give mainly an update on the storm. So we had 14 trees down in the roadways throughout the city. The guys came in towards the tail end of the storm, and we're here till 6 in the morning clearing roadways. So we actually had all roadways opened up by morning hours. We've hauled 163 dump truck loads to the recycle center. That's 27 loads a day. And we've had staff out there constantly shoving brush up, burning as much as we can, fighting the rain a little bit, but that's okay. We'd rather have that than fires everywhere, right? Okay. Anyway, we've had 1,014 citizen loads hauled to the recycle center since we've opened up for the storm relief. And that is including the Monday that we were not normally open. So there's been a huge turnout there. Just to kind of put things in perspective, if we were to get an average load at $7 a load, it's over $7,000 that we would normally brought in. That has been kind of a gift to help out with the community and the citizens. So we'll continue through Friday to allow free drop off at the recycle center. We do kind of have to put an end date on this, and hopefully by Friday we can be most of the way through the entire city to do that one lap through. Then at that point we'll go back to kind of regular business, and then have probably a skeleton crew to go around and finish a couple addresses that were late getting them out when we started on the very beginning sections of town. So we'll try to make sure and get your storm damage picked up, but we do have other stuff we have to get back to. So we did have one new hire and currently have one opening remaining, and we have an interview coming up on Friday. So fill that last position there. And then Friday you will see the update on the code enforcement. That's all I have tonight.
Thank you. Richard.
Okay, everybody's already talked about the windstorm, so I'm not going to give you my woes about how our golf course got beat up and how our parks got beat up, but we've got 95% of everything cleaned up, and I've got to give credit to my golf staff, especially. That storm hit, I think it was 11 o'clock Saturday night, and by 7 the next morning we already had people playing golf. They had Not all the limbs picked up, I'm not gonna lie, but they had all the greens cleared off so people could, you know, chip and putt and still play the game, and we just called those extra limbs hazards. But we're getting them all taken care of. Last week, we had 3 different tournaments, one at the golf course, one at the baseball field, one at the softball field. And starting on Juneteenth, we were busy Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So this weekend, we look to do the same. I think we're gonna have another baseball tournament this weekend if weather permits. And this will be the last time you hear this for a while. Don't forget the 4th of July out at the park. We've got everything pretty much lined up. We're just waiting to get the people in now. So be there, be square. We'll have a good time.
Richard, send out a note to the council members with regard to, on the 4th of July, you're starting off with the run in the morning at 7. You got the centennial tree dedication, you got fireworks. Just give them an idea of what is occurring during the day and where it's occurring. So if they want to break away from family to join you, they can do so.
And we'll have we're having a golf tournament, but it's already full, so don't plan on that. Okay.
All right.
We'll get that out.
Great.
Thank you.
Tracy.
Thank you, Your Honor. First of all, I would like to introduce Laura Taylor. She is our intern. She thinks she wants to go into municipal government. We may teach her a few lessons and she may not change her mind, but she's going around to the different departments. She's helping with court. I think we're gonna send her, around to some of the other departments so she can see how they operate as well. But she's been a big help, I know, to court so far. I do want to thank all of our crews that worked during the storm.
Excuse me, where are you going to school?
I already graduated from Missouri State University.
She actually works out at our golf course.
Oh, okay, great. I just thought nice to know where
yes.
I can find people.
So I would like to thank our crews as well for all of their hard work during the storm. And yes, we had a little error with one of the storm sirens, but that connection had just kind of wiggled loose and it was a quick fix, and thanks to Jason for taking care of that as soon as possible. Also, the Downtown Revitalization Coalition met, and we also hosted a forum on the historic tax credits. Jeff Neal was present to talk about the historic tax credits and kind of educate individuals on how to obtain those and what it takes. That forum was recorded, and so you can go on the city's YouTube to review that, the forum to educate yourself on that. As far as the pool goes, Richard and I met with Landmark, and we walked the pool and talked about everything that needs to be repaired or replaced. We do think that we have identified the major source of the leak, and so hopefully we can, get that taken care of. If we decide to move forward with just repairs on the existing facility, getting it up to code and regulations, they do believe that we can get it done to be open by the next season. So that will be nice. And that's all I have tonight.
Okay, thank you. John?
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
All right, we will now entertain report of claims presented against the city. Miranda?
The Committee on Claims filed a report in the amount of $1,491,076.73.
Make a motion, we approve the claims as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the claims as presented. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. All right, we'll now move on to public hearings. We've got one. Miranda, please.
We will now hold a public hearing for the approval of the City of Carthage budget for the 2026-2027 fiscal year. And this budget does include ours, water and electrics, and the library.
Any comments or questions?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yeah, Ron.
I'm very disappointed in the citizens of Carthage if they're concerned about the expense, as Ray says, that we're spending and all the millions that we supposedly are sitting on, which we know better, I want to hear no complaints from them. I have my own personal complaints, but if the citizens ain't gonna come out and be concerned and at least get the facts, then we do our best.
Okay.
That's all.
Any other comments? All right, we'll move on now to old business. First council bill, Miranda.
The second reading of Council Bill 2639, an ordinance authorizing utility rate changes for electric, water, and wastewater services as requested by the Carthage Water and Electric Plant Board.
Any discussion? Cast your vote. Council bill passes. Next council bill.
The second reading of Council Bill 2640, an ordinance adopting the annual operating and capital budget of the City of Carthage for fiscal year 2026-2027.
Any discussion? Ron?
Yes, Your Honor. I myself can't go forward with voting for this. One of the college classes I took was micro and macroeconomics. And the big discussion there is anytime you're dealing with a deficit in your budget, you're going the wrong direction. At the point we are right now, if we keep going the direction we're going and we don't get the projected revenues, then we're going to be in a deficit again next year. And at that time, department heads and department committees are going to have to make a decision on who they're going to let go. I don't want to see any employee let go. The direction you're wanting to take on trying to create more sales revenue and what have you, I know Tracy's trying to deal with the deficit as it is and hopefully take it down some more, but $383,000 right now is what the deficit is for this year. We just had a emergency air conditioner we had to replace, and that's going to come out of that carryover that we were planning on having part of that. I don't know how much it was, but it affects us. We got to quit kicking the can down the road. Sometimes somebody's got to say no. I'm the only one here tonight that's going to say no. But if our citizens don't care, I wonder myself, why am I caring? But I care because there's people out there paying taxes and they expect us as individuals representing them, because they're the ones that paying our salary. They're the ones that we're supposed to be representing, and we're not representing them when we're dealing with a deficit of $383,000 on this next year. And we're gambling that the revenue is going to come in that keeps it at that or below. It could turn around and be just the opposite. We could be more than 400,000 or maybe more. I just pray that that doesn't happen. But I just can't vote for this a budget with the deficit that all the department heads and committees is recommended to go forward with. That's all, Your Honor.
Okay. Any other? Jack?
Just a thought or a question. In the budget process from a revenue, was it taken into consideration the construction of Central Street and a possible loss of tax revenue? And I wonder if the MoDOT would ever have any statistics when they do a construction, how it affects the businesses. Because a lot of that traffic on Central is coming off 49 to scooters and whatever's there. And was that ever taken into consideration?
Actually, yes, we did not forecast for any increase in sales tax revenue.
I saw that. It was not
Well, you're dealing with several factors. Again, like you said, we've got the construction that's going on and forthcoming, but also we've got inflation that we're dealing with, and so consumers are not spending as much as they normally would. So that was also taken into consideration.
Well, I would just make a comment on the 300 and some odd thousand. What is that, 2%? About 13 into 380, 2.5%. That's not a lot of money. I mean, in a scheme of life, and we could get a lot better. I think this Fairbridge, when it comes up, is really going to be a boon to us and to the
I
mayor's
think
company.
that, and also with the passage of the ordinance that allows us to have some policies, you know, if we have problems at a hotel, that we can enforce.
Sure.
But we do have to continue working with the hotels and encourage them to get their facilities to, you know, current, clean and operable where people want to stay, so they aren't being recommended to go to Joplin to stay.
Yeah, I think this new hotel is going to be really, really good. I mean, the change in the name, what, the $7 million that they're going to spend. And I think, as I recall, when it was Precious Moments, it was full a lot. It was pretty much sold out. It was hard to get a room there. So I think that could happen again. That would be a real boon to the city.
All right, anyone else? Robin?
Yes, I just wanted to say that, you know, someone told me once, you know, don't bring me problems, bring me solutions. And so I think, you know, to say that we shouldn't pass the budget because we're, you know, running at a deficit, I think, I don't sit on the budget committee, but I did go to some of the meetings, and I think it's clear to all of the budget committee members that there's a problem that needs to be resolved. I think, you know, as Mr. Wells said, we have kicked the can, but I really felt like in those meetings, there was an awareness among all of the committee members that it is a problem that can't continue. And so I would fully anticipate, you know, next year there will be some solutions brought to the table. And I think, you know, we as the council should expect that. I don't think that we can come in, you know, in the 11th hour and say, we've got to fix this. I mean, the fact of the matter is the city's got to run, and we've got to have a budget, and we've got to do something with that. But I think that we as a council should expect next year to see something different. And I think the committee is aware of that, so.
Okay.
Yeah, but isn't the budget this year a couple million less than last year? Is that? I'm trying to find it.
The grant revenue is going to be down because we spent a lot.
Well, I'm just saying though, from
Yes.
that standpoint, but that's the reason. I'm not saying whatever the reason was, but it's down to, you know, it could be 15 and we'd be $2.5 million in debt.
Oh, we're not doing that.
Huh?
We're not gonna do that.
I know we're not gonna do that. That's my point. So it looks to me like, you know, the committee has worked very, very hard. If you go over all of these statements, I don't see any fluff in there.
A lot of the department heads who will bear the brunt of, as Ron alludes to, start to cut personnel. However, I am optimistic based on what I've seen, what I've discussed. Some of our cost recovery efforts, I think, will bear some true fruit for us going forward. Now, how quickly they come into dropping, if you will, into a positive situation is still to be determined, but I'm optimistic that we can get where we need to go this year. Now, having said that, long term, as Ron points out, this is not something that you want to continue to do. You got to figure out something else, and we've got that. We've had some poor choices that we have made in the past that we've got to work our way to get out from underneath those, and we're doing that. So at least we know what they are.
Can I comment on the sidewalk repair or renewal? Is that in the budget?
You talk about which sidewalk repair or
the spider, the down
extension.
The next, you mean the next sidewalk project?
Is it in?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Here's my comment. I don't think these two sidewalks on Third Street, from the bank and by the bowling alley, those are really good shape. The one going by the sheriff's department is in good shape. The one on the south side of Third Street going west, there's a lot of manhole covers there. There's a lot of meters for the apartment, for the business, and I think they're gonna have a heck of a time getting around those. I'm just making this comment. And then, the only one I know that's really bad is the one over here on Fourth, going toward the Drake Hotel. But I've never seen anybody walk down that sidewalk, so that's not the point. But the point is, I think we can reduce the total amount of the rework.
We've actually done that already. We did, we had planned, on replacing everything. And Josiah and Jeff Meredith and I walked all of the sidewalks and determined which ones needed to be replaced
Okay,
and which ones.
you've already done that.
So we
So I'm
did
just
cut.
Hear my head rattle. So another question, is there a state statute for gutter height? Is there? Or can you have gutters any, because the point is, if you walk around our sidewalks out here, there's some of them are like that, some of them are like this. So if there was not a standard, why not drop them an inch? How much would that save? I mean, it just, just thinking off the top of my head about, how much money can we save even by replacing the sidewalks if we don't, make them that high?
A lot of the challenges are the historical factor. You've got steps and approaches coming into buildings that are X height, and whenever you have, because of this funding that we're getting to pay for these sidewalks with the grants, to meet ADA up, to code, you're only allowed a certain percentage, a 2% cross slope. So therefore, you can only drop so far without having to put stuff like we had to do around the deli to create the steps and then the ramp to come around to make it work. So there's some challenges on curb heights here and there just to make sure we're staying in compliance with ADA regulations.
And that's the reason that it's high here?
Yes, that's they hit the full 2% from the doorway all the way down to the edge to get to that height, and that curb is a slight bit higher there. And we would just go and I'd love to be able to just add asphalt to the street, but then you're messing with the flow line for water getting off the square for drainage. So there's kind of a challenge that the engineers are constantly battling, trying to design those things.
And that is their responsibility, or?
As far as the design goes, yes, engineers, yeah. I'm working with them currently with this extension. We have the preliminary done. We're making some final little tweaks, meeting with some people and listening to their concerns. I actually had a meeting yesterday and making another phone call back to make sure we can make some of these changes to try to accommodate to these people. So.
And one more. Richard, did you ever read the ground penetrating radar data?
No.
You did not, okay. Anybody?
Chuck and I discussed that, and there were no visible leaks in the pool when it went over that area.
But you said you think you found the source of the leak, the big leak.
Yes.
By?
The Landmark, when Richard and I met with Landmark, they stated that it was in their report that they felt that the major source of the leak was the drain valve. And when Water and Electric was in, they had an individual go down a manhole, and how they made it down that little manhole. It wasn't a full manhole. There's a pole in the middle of it. And this gentleman was
Frankie. We got to call him by name, Frankie.
Okay, Frankie went down the manhole and found the leak. It is at the drain valve.
Okay. You think we could have found that a long, long time ago? Several million gallons of water ago.
It was actually in a report, pool assessment that was done in 2023.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments? All right, the question on the table, rather for consideration, is Council Bill 2640. There was no discussion, cast your vote. Council bill passes. Next council bill.
The second reading of Council Bill 2641, an ordinance accepting the first replat of Creekside subdivision, lots 42, 43, and 44, as submitted by Schuber Mitchell Homes LLC, generally located at Chapel Road and Marble Avenue in the city of Carthage, Missouri.
Any discussion? Cast your vote. Council bill is adopted. Next council bill.
The second reading of Council Bill 2642, an ordinance amending the annual operating budget and capital budget of the city of Carthage for fiscal year 2025-2026 for specified funds, general fund, public safety fund, golf fund, and capital improvement tax fund.
Any discussion? Cast your vote. Council bill passes. We'll now move on to new business. First council bill.
The first reading of Council Bill 2643, an ordinance amending section 10-2, open burning of the Carthage City Code.
Any discussion? All right, we'll move on to mayor's appointments.
The mayor's appointment of Jason Martin and Ken Lound of the fire department and Jeff Pinnell and Ethan Snow of the police department to the police and fire pension committee until July 2028.
I think most council members know these are elected representatives from the two departments that are involved. So the departments elect the two from each that you've seen on there. So Alan.
I move we accept the mayor's appointment.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to accept the appointments. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Appointments are approved. All right, we have no resolution, so we'll go to closing comments. My only closing comments for tonight are as follows. Number one, again, I encourage you to get out to 4th of July. I know you're going to spend time with your families, but there's lots of activities occurring at different times out there. And if just you can pop out for one of those activities, that would be great, and I encourage you to do so. As has been discussed a couple times, our merchants are under a little bit of pressure because of the courthouse construction and all that sort of thing. So I would ask you that, as those of you that are on the square, and of course I am every day, but you can pretty well pick out those that are visiting from someplace else. Either from the license plate of the car they get out of or the t-shirt, and I would just ask you, just engage them, say welcome, ask them where they're from, see how they're doing. Some of them don't even know that there's a coffee shop that's available inside Cherry's because it's not necessarily advertised just yet appropriately. So I would ask you to be friendly and engage those folks as they come through. And that completes my comments tonight. So we'll start with closing comments. Ray, we're going to start with you.
All right, just one clarification. I wasn't specifically in my comments before talking about the pool. I'm talking about public relations that we need to work on the citizens of Carthage knowing where we stand financially and what we can and can't do and how things might look in the future. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mariella.
Nothing here.
David.
Just hope everybody has a safe and enjoyable Independence Day. That's it.
Jack.
I want to reiterate and big kudos to Richard and his crew at the golf course. We placed that Sunday morning, wading through all the tree limbs, but the greens were perfect. They got up very, very early, probably before daylight, and blew all the debris off the greens, and we were able to play golf, which is good because then you can take a free job. Where's my ball? I can't find it. It's in the so I again, it's just magnificent. We lost that giant oak tree on 16, and they have taken the biggest part of it out. So you know the course has changed. You know, what did he lose? 5 trees, I think. Yeah. 5, and of course, there's a lot of oak trees out there. So anyhow, it's just really, really great shape. That's all I can say. Thank you.
All right, Alan.
So I've got a question for Richard. Does it have to be documented wins to blow limbs on the course to take the free drop? Because I've been known to have a small stick and take a free drop out of the rough into the fairway because of
That's
that
perfectly
hazard.
legal way I.
Perfectly legal? Okay, I just wanted to verify that. So thanks, Richard.
Hey, who played?
To echo David, I hope everybody has a great 4th of July. Get out and celebrate US 250 and have a good 4th. This may be the first year I don't plan on purchasing any fireworks, so east side of town may be a little quieter. I doubt it based on recent years.
There goes some of our revenue.
Yeah, well, the neighbors buy plenty, so I think we won't be missing a whole lot of revenue, Ron, but that's all, Your Honor.
All right, Beth.
Well, two things. One, I want to thank Councilman Snow and Tracy, and because this was my first budget process to go through, and there's a lot to it, and I know that you've worked really hard to take steps to engage and get involved with the department heads, and the department heads being new is not an easy task when you're going through it. I know you've all been through many parts of what you do, but the buck will stop with you all. And I appreciated when Tracy and I were meeting and Chief Deininger came in and talked about his perception about how especially going forward, that there's an important thing to really think about, not only your department, but also our city as a whole. And that stuck with me. It's extremely important that we do that. I could come here and talk about things that I want or Ward 4 wants, but it's important that we look at the whole. And I think that doing so is going to make us stronger and better, and ask ourselves the tough questions. And I appreciate all the storm-related communication, and also the work that went on by people, and it was very tireless. But I live in Sacramento, and I swear there was never this much communication and knowing where things were happening and how things were going to be resolved, and we're very lucky. So happy 4th to everybody.
Ron.
Yes, Your Honor. One comment about the history here in this little town. I think that gets overlooked a lot of times. The reenactment out there at the Civil War Museum, I went out there, or not the museum, the Civil War Arena. I went out there. The amount of traffic and cars that were out there, just to observe that, just blew me away. Did we miss an opportunity there of getting those people in town to spend their money at the restaurants or somewhere that would benefit us? We have Marion Days, we have our Maple Leaf, we have our Christmas parade. On those, this place is just, people's all up, you gotta park a mile away just to get up here to the square. Marion Days, I know for a fact that every motel in this town will be filled by those outsiders, and they come from Hawaii, Alaska, everywhere to here. And a lot of them have kids that are actually going out there to the college. That's another opportunity that we have for revenue. I don't know how much, whether we get any revenue from the actual on Marion Days, those tents and food and everything out there, but I know the motels, every one of them are packed and filled up. We just need, as you're taking a look at, trying to find those additional things, because Marion Days and Maple Leaf and the Christmas parade alone is not going to create revenue we need. But like out there at the Civil War Arena, there was an awesome amount of people out there, and there was an awesome amount of people out there spending money at the food trucks out there. We won't see any of that, I don't believe, but it's a big picture we gotta look at in order to get this bucket back where we want it. And other than that, I'll see you all at the end of the month of July.
Okay? Susan?
Well, I had to be gone at the last meeting, and I'm not gonna lie, I had a little bit of FOMO because I enjoy coming to these meetings, so I'm glad to be back.
Okay, thank you. Juan?
Guess I'm gonna follow suit. Thank you guys to everyone that was involved in the efforts to keep our city clean after the storm and functioning from all our departments, Carthage Water. Thank you guys. We are truly blessed. I know other cities for sure didn't have electricity up and going as quick as Carthage did. So thank you guys. That's really all I have. Have a happy 4th of July.
Okay. Robin?
I don't think I have anything to say that hasn't already been said, other than to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Have a motion second to adjourn. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? We are adjourned.